This screencast is a reading of the 13.8 unit assessment. Please feel free to use this screencast throughout your time taking the test. You can always listen to it as many times as you need, hit pause, hit rewind. The choice is yours. So today you're going to demonstrate your knowledge of Unit 13 in a test format. Your to-do list, Step 1, complete the Unit 13 assessment. Hit the Preview Quiz Now button, and let's get it started. Question 1. The Willamette Proviso was an idea proposed to Congress. 2. Page 476. Did this prohibit slavery in all parts of the Mexican Cession? Did this reinstate slavery in the northern states? Did it allow slaves to be counted in the population of a state? Or did it increase and improve the rights given to slaves? Once you've gone ahead and gone to page 476, selected your choice, let's do number 2. Number 2, how did the idea of popular sovereignty affect slavery in the United States? Page 476. Was it that slavery would not be permitted in unofficial states, that states or territories would decide whether to permit slavery, that slavery would not be permitted anywhere in the country, or that the federal government would have the last word on slavery? Go ahead and select your choice from the options given, and then get ready to move on to number 3. Number 3. What was a consequence of the Compromise of 1850? Page 479. Was it that the federal government was losing power over the states, that divisions between North and South became more distinct, that economic benefits of the slave trade were destroyed in all parts of the Union, or that the balance between free and slave states ended in the Union? So go to 479 to select your choice before moving on to the next question. Question 4. Most Northerners opposed the Fugitive Slave Act because it, page 479, A. endangered their way of life since a large number of fugitive slaves lived in the North, B. encouraged slaves to resort to rebellion and violence to protest the new law, C. gave commissioners too much power and should have allowed the slaves the rights to jury trials, or D. ended the progress that the anti-slavery movement had made in the South. Select your choice after looking on page 479, and then let's do number 5. 5. Harriet Beecher Stowe's Uncle Tom's Cabin is A or an, page 481. Is it a novel, an autobiography, a journalistic account, or a political pamphlet? Select your choice from the answers given, and when you're ready, hit the next button to go to 6. Question 6. What did Harriet Beecher Stowe do to influence the debate over slavery? Page 481. Did she push for the start of the Civil War? Did she expose the harsh reality of slave life? Did she accuse the federal government of obeying the southern states? Or did she attack political figures who supported slavery in the South? Select your choice from the answers given after looking on page 481. Make sure to hit next before moving on. Question 7. Introduced in 1854, the Kansas-Nebraska Act, page 485, A. maintained the balance of slave and free states in the Union, B. divided the Louisiana Purchase into 2 territories, C. let the federal government decide on slavery in the Louisiana Purchase, or D. reinforced the restriction placed on slavery by the Missouri Compromise. Once you've looked at your choices given here, go ahead and hit that next button to get to number 8. Number 8. The Kansas-Nebraska Act led to the A. prohibition of the practice of slavery in the territories, B. return of the slavery issue between the North and South, C. reinforcement of ideas introduced in the Missouri Compromise, or D. declaration of the Fugitive Slave Act as unconstitutional. Go ahead and select your choice from the answers given, and let's move on to number 9. Question 9. On the night of May 24, 1856, 5 pro-slavery men were killed in Kansas. What was this event called? Page 487. Was this the Potawatomi Massacre, Brown's Raid, the Sack of Lawrence, or Shays' Rebellion? Select your choices from the answers given. Hit the next button when you're ready. Question 10. The Supreme Court's ruling in Dred Scott versus Stanford established that, page 489, slaves were not allowed to accuse slaveholders. The Missouri Compromise's restriction on slavery was unconstitutional. Establishing a residence on free soil makes a slave free. Or that Congress had legal power to ban slavery in federal territories. Select your choice from the answers given, and then when you're ready, let's move on to 11. Question 11. The purpose of the Lincoln-Douglas debates was for Abraham Lincoln and Stephen Douglas to, page 491, A. Announce their candidacies for the Senator of Illinois and gain the support of voters. B. Spread the importance of the anti-slavery movement to the state of Illinois. C. Gain supporters for the newly formed Republican Party in the United States. Or D. Fight for the rights of African American slaves in the United States. Select your choice from the answers given, and after that, let's move on to 12. 12. What did the Freeport Doctrine proposed by Stephen Douglas state? A. That slaves should be given the same rights as white citizens. B. That the decision to ban slavery in the territories was Congress's responsibility. C. That slaves living in slave states should be given their freedom. Or that D. The decision to practice slavery in the territories belonged to the people. Select your choice after looking on page 492, and when you're ready, hit the next button. Question 13. Why was John Brown's raid on Harper's Ferry a failure? Page 493 to 494. Was it A. That his supporters did not follow his plan? B. He did not have enough supporters for his cause? C. That his men turned on him before the raid began? Or D. That he was met with resistance from slaves in Virginia? Select your choice after looking on pages 493 and 494. When you're all set, hit that next button. Question 14. What did Southerners fear after John Brown's raid on Harper's Ferry? Page 493 to 494 again. Did they fear that the raid would increase Southern support for the anti-slavery movement? Did they fear that the slaves in the South would take a cue from the raid and lead their own attack? Did they fear that the federal government would soon declare slavery illegal in the South? Or that the safety of the South was in jeopardy and another attack from the North might occur? When you're ready, after looking on those pages, hit the next button to go to 15. Question 15. What was the significance of the election of 1860? Page 495. Was it that it brought to light the divisions that existed in the United States over slavery? Was it that it exposed the corruption of the Electoral College in the election process? Was it that it showed the South was losing its political power in the nation? Or was it that it illustrated that a candidate did not have to carry a state to win? Select your choice after looking on those pages, and when you're ready, hit the next button. Question 16. Which statement best expresses the reason why the Southern states decided to secede from the Union after the election of 1860? This is on 496. Was it that the Southern economy and way of life would be destroyed? Was it that slaves would begin an uprising if the slaves did not secede? Was it the seceding from the Union would end the possibility of war? Or was it that secession would end the conflicts between the northern states over slavery? When you're ready, let's go ahead and start number 17. Don't forget to keep hitting that next button. Newly elected President Lincoln affirmed that, page 497, A. The Constitution of the Confederacy was illegal. B. Seceding states could be punished with force. C. Citizens have the right to overthrow the government. Or D. The seceding states had to give back federal property. Go to 497 to find out what Lincoln thought. When you're ready, hit that next button. Question 18. The Wilmot Proviso created feelings of blank throughout the country as people began to favor the interests of their regions over those of the nation as a whole. Is this called sectionalism or is this called nationalism? Go to 476 to find out. Go ahead and type your answer in and hit next. Question 19. Proposed by Henry Clay, the blank settled most of the disputes between slave and free states over the issue of admitting California to the Union. Was this the Compromise of 1850, or was this the Wilmot Proviso? Go to page 479 to find out. When you're ready, type it in and hit the next button. Question 20. Many Northerners opposed the blank because it took away a slave's right to trial by jury. Was this the Kansas-Nebraska Act or the Fugitive Slave Act? Go to 479 to find out, type it in, and hit the next button. Question 21. Harriet Beecher Stowe was the author of blank, which was the novel that brought the injustices of slavery to the nation's attention. Was this Uncle Tom's Cabin or the North Star? Select your choice and go ahead and type that in after looking on the provided page, and you'll be all set. Question 22. The blank divided the Louisiana Purchase into 2 territories and removed the Missouri Compromise's restriction on slavery in the territories. Was this the Compromise of 1850 or was this the Kansas-Nebraska Act? Select your choice after looking on page 485, and when you're ready, hit that next button. Question 23. In 1854, members of various political parties joined to form the Blank Party, which united against the spread of slavery in the West. Was this the Republican Party or the Free Soil Party? Go to 488 to find out and type your answer in. Question 24. Blank was a slave who sued for freedom in federal court after living in free territory in Illinois. Is this Anthony Burns or Dred Scott? Go to 489 to find out. Hit the next button when you're ready. Question 25. Blank led uprisings in both Kansas and Virginia to further the anti-slavery cause. Is this John Bell or John Brown? Go to 487 to find out and hit that next button when you're ready. Question 26. After the election of 1860, many southern states seceded from the Union to form the blank. Is this the Confederacy or the Constitutional Union Party? Go to 496 to find out and hit the next button when you're ready. You're on your final question. It's the multiple choice. Match each item with the correct statement below. A law that made it a crime to assist runaway slaves. Go to 479 to find out. Is this the Free Soil Party, the Fugitive Slave Act, the Potawatomi Massacre, secession, the Wilmot Proviso, John Brown's Raid, Franklin Pierce, Jefferson Davis, the Freeport Doctrine, or Stephen Douglas? Select your choice and then go ahead and move to the next one. What was the political group formed by anti-slavery Northerners who supported the Wilmot Proviso? Page 477. Is it the Free Soil Party, the Fugitive Slave Act, the Potawatomi Massacre, secession, the Wilmot Proviso, John Brown's Raid, Franklin Pierce, Jeff Davis, the Freeport Doctrine, or Stephen Douglas? Select your choice after examining page 477. What was the idea that political power belongs to the people? This is on 492. Was this the Free Soil Party, the Fugitive Slave Act, the Potawatomi Massacre, secession, the Wilmot Proviso, John Brown's Raid, Franklin Pierce, Jefferson Davis, the Freeport Doctrine, or Stephen Douglas? What was the document that stated that slavery could not exist in any part of the Mexican Cession? Page 476. Was this the Free Soil Party, the Fugitive Slave Act, the Potawatomi Massacre, secession, the Wilmot Proviso, John Brown's Raid, Franklin Pierce, Jeff Davis, the Freeport Doctrine, or Stephen Douglas? What U.S. Senator from Illinois proposed the Kansas-Nebraska Act? Page 484. Was this the Free Soil Party, the Fugitive Slave Act, the Potawatomi Massacre, secession, the Wilmot Proviso, John Brown's Raid, Franklin Pierce, Jeff Davis, the Freeport Doctrine, or Stephen Douglas? This is where I'm going to end this video because I have a maximum of 15 minutes. I will create a second video that finishes the test. So once you finish this, go ahead and start the second video, which will also be available in the email that I've sent you.